Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace sitting here in front of you, coming to you with one of these rare evening encounters. I normally try to do all my TVI videos in the morning time, catch people before they get off to work or get their day started to try to give them some inspiration, some encouragement, and help them power up for the day. But in the process of powering up, there's this constant ongoing command to level up. And one of the most important elements or components in leveling up is the changing of your thinking, the leveling up and elevating your thinking. And a big part of how you think, how you view life, how you see life, how you frame things, what you expect out of life, are the paradigms through which you live. Paradigm can basically be seen as the lens through which you view life. Some people see life through the lens of a victim, some see life through the lens of an unstoppable force and everything in between. But the lens and through which you view life frames how you approach things. And if you are a person that procrastinates, a person that acts out of fear and emotion, a person that has this unreasonable fear about moving forward, engaging change, or what you expect out of life, if you constantly see yourself as a failure, then you've got to understand that that's an erroneous paradigm that you're operating through. We are basically establishing our paradigms up to the age of 7. You're primarily functioning from birth up until age 7 in a state known as theta. Theta is a state in which you're highly susceptible to suggestion. And so this is where children get their ideas of who they are. This is when children get their ideas of what's possible. This is also a time that they are highly engaged in their imagination. And so they're literally able to create worlds for themselves and around themselves. You see little girls using mud pies as pies, having tea party with nothing in the cups. You see little boys using broomsticks as horses and sticks for guns and everything else. And the imagination takes them to places that they can't normally be in. And the thing about it is we normally sort of kind of choke the imagination out of our kids around the same time, 5 to 7 years old. They're getting ready to go to school and they're told to be realistic. They're told to get their heads out of the clouds. They're told so many things that start to shrink them and put them in this box of low expectation, a low demand of who they are, what they can expect for themselves, what they're going to be when they grow up. All of this stuff is being shaped for them in most instances, and they are getting an idea of who they are in this world and what they can expect for this world, how much of an impact they will have in the world, how much of an impact the world will have on them. And based on all of these ideas that they're inculcating into their psyche, they come up with these expectations. And I've said this over and over again, that God will only meet you at the level of your expectations. And so if you're expecting something bad to happen, it will. If you're expecting only to be able to function at a certain level, you will. You're never going to consistently achieve beyond what you expect from yourself. You'll never be able to receive beyond the level in which you expect for yourself. God, the universe, life is going to meet you at the level of your expectations. So if you want something greater than what you've been getting, you've got to change your expectations. You've got to put yourself in a situation in where you see life in a way that you have control. Most people aren't operating or using their personal sovereignty to execute control over their lives because they believe that life is happening to them. That is a position, an idea, or a position of a victim. Life is happening to me. I have no control over it. I'm just hoping and wishing that things get better. And so everything that happens is an external factor. Everything that's going on in your life is because somebody did it, or somebody didn't do it, or somebody could have helped you and they didn't, or somebody tried but they did this. And so it's never a sense of accountability and the force or the demand for an assertion of your own onto the situation of life. And see, the thing is, it's not that people who are successful some kind of way find a way to circumvent life's vicissitudes, the struggles, the disappointments, the frustration, experiencing delays, setbacks, being knocked down. It's not that people who are successful are good at getting around the problem or the struggle. It's that they see it differently. See, the person who is locked into a mediocre existence and whatever that means. I'm not talking about a person that doesn't get knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down. Everybody goes through difficulty. Everybody makes bad decisions. Everybody has setbacks. That's the truth about it. It's not that. What makes the difference between people who excel and people who don't is that the person who doesn't excel sees themselves as an effect and never takes on the idea that they can be at cause. See, when you're at effect, you believe something is happening that's causing what you are now going through, and it's out of your hands. When you're at cause, you can sit up and say, I don't like the results or the effect, so I'm going to adjust the cause. I'm going to do something different to cause a different effect. That comes from a paradigm shift. That means you have to change the way you view life. You can't sit up as a victim-minded person and accomplish anything consistently that calls you to take control of your life, because victims don't take control of their life. They don't own accountability in their struggles. They blame someone else. And so in order to change that, and I'm not saying that this only applies to victims, anybody that is not assuming the controls of their lives cannot assume the ability or that comes along with accountability to change things. You're at the whim of what you see controlling you, whatever that is. You can blame it on your mom, you can blame it on your job, you can blame it on your spouse, you can blame it on your finances. It's so many different things you can blame the inability to move ahead or to accomplish something on. But at the end of the day, it's going to be when you decide to shift into a position where you see that you own personal sovereignty, through which you're able to make decisions that can lead to changes that lead to better results. It's called a paradigm shift or a paradigmatic shift. And one of the courses that I teach or that I've created is the Power of Paradigms course. Up until this point, the Power of Paradigms course has been a course that people can come on the site and order. I send them the course and then I go through the course with them. And one of the things that I've been telling you guys for the last month or so is that I've made up in my mind that I'm going to expand and I'm going to find a way to reach more people. I told you that I partnered with Body by God, and we're doing the No Excuses 30-Day Challenge, and we've got a lot of things set up for 2019. My goal is to change the lives of 1 million people by the end of 2019. And obviously, not everyone can afford my coaching packages, my counseling sessions, the courses that I create that are highly personal. And so that locks out a lot of people. So I've been looking and talking and, consulting with some of my colleagues, some other people, trying to determine the best way to do this without devaluing what I do on an ongoing and a daily basis with my clients. And so I created the online version of the Power of Paradigms course. Now, it doesn't involve me working directly with you, but it gives you a straight outline, 5-step process of shifting paradigms and moving from thinking that doesn't work for you to thinking and ideas and the ability to frame things, perceive things, and contextualize things in a way that empowers you. And that's a paradigm shift that moves from one side of the spectrum to the other, and where the normal course is, like I say, one that I'm going to be in contact with you a minimum of 4 times over the course of the 30 days that you're doing this. This one is only $29.95. It's online. I didn't put the link in. Yes, it is. The link is in there. So it's on Udemy, which is a platform that allows people to come and get on. It's $29.95. And I've never had anything outside of a book at that price. But this is it's 7 total video lectures, written content, step-by-step process, and you're going to practice it over 30 days. You will have my email address. You can email me and get some insight. And I'm excited about it because I believe it's a chance for people who really want to see a difference in the results they're getting to actually get out there. The link is in there. You can jump on this. For people who, are not able to work with me, of course I want to work with people. I love it. It's my passion. It's what I do. But what I bring to the table is of great value. And I believe that I have to protect that value. And I believe that what I bring to the table in value justifies what I charge for my sessions, for my programs, and for personal engagements. And based on the clientele that I've worked with in the past and the ones I'm working with now, it's justified. I get results, but at the same time, I don't want to lock people out. So this is one way if this does well, if this does well, if we get enough people that enroll in the program, it's one-on-one. You don't have to wait on anyone else to enroll. The start date is the date you choose. You enroll in the program, you start, and you work it for 30 days, and you will see a change in your thinking. Starting around maybe day 10 through day 14, you'll really start to see where it's becoming easier to think a certain way, to behave a certain way, to expect certain things. And then there are other things you have to go through and graduate into, simply the way you manage your day, you start your day. All those things are so important. But we talk about that in the course. But my thing is, I really want to reach people where they are. And I don't want to lock out people who cannot afford to work with me one-on-one and directly. Now, do I want to? As long as I got slots available, I want to work with people. I want to show people that there are things that they haven't even come close to, that is dormant potential laying inside of them, and that they can do so much more than what they're doing, no matter what they're doing. There's some people doing some unbelievable stuff and they still haven't scratched the surface yet. There are other people that are sitting back wishing something would happen in their life and not ever taking control. And I want to show people how to take control. Now, the thing is, there are certain people that can get to me based on the parameters of price, and there are certain people that have been locked out. I'm trying to find a way to bridge that within reason. And I believe that this course is the first step. Again, if it's successful, if enough people enroll in it and enough people actually believe that they have gotten what they expected to get from it, and then we're going to do another course. And what I'm going to be asking you guys, if there's something that you want to address, we're dealing with power paradigms. Another course I'm going to deal with, I know I'm going to deal with, is procrastination. I'm going to definitely deal with procrastination. I'm going to do a course in overcoming fear. Those are the courses that are going to be coming up. But this course is going to really establish whether or not this is the direction I'm going to take as far as expanding the reach of the Visionetics Institute. And so, again, the link is there. If you know somebody that can benefit from it, I mean, there's so much into the thinking. As a man thinks, so is he. We are what we think, and our thoughts produce our reality. How we're seeing life is determining what we're doing and getting out of life. So many of us are looking at everyone around us and blaming other people for things that we have the capacity to change. No, you can't control who your parents are. You can't control what you go through at a certain age in life when you don't have the ability to defend yourself, protect yourself. But the thing is, there comes a point in time where you have the power to establish who you are going to be in this world. And you have the power to sit up and say, I am no longer a victim. You have the power to sit up and say, this is the day that I'm going to change how I view life, and I'm going to get everything out of life I was designed to get, and I'm going to give to the world everything I have to give. I'm going to be a person of impact. I'm going to be a person of power. You have that within you, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what situations you've come out of. You have inside of you the ability to do exceptional and extraordinary things, and it's up to you to own that. And that's what the power of paradigms is about. It's about shifting how you see the life and how you see life in the world around you. It's about shifting how you see yourself and the ability to impact the world. It's time today. I don't talk about what you're going to do next month. Don't talk about what you're going to do in the new year. Today is the day. This is the day that you sit up and decide that I'm going to change my life. I don't care where you are, what you're doing. This is the day. And people ask me, well, when is the right time to start? The right time to start is the moment that you have a thought that you need to change. Immediately change. Here's the thing. Most people sit up and look for this pathway. They're looking for everything. The reason most people don't start is fear, number one. And the second thing is they don't know how they're going to get through it. And see, but here's the problem. Anything that you want out of life, you don't get it because you want it. You get it because you become who you are, who you need to be in order to have it. If a person says, I want to be a better husband, then they need to develop better communication skills. They need to develop a better listening ear. They need to develop an ability to put themselves second, even third, second into the marriage, third to it being behind the wife or the husband, depending on which spouse you are. But in that, you have to be willing to do these things. And so what I'm trying to get at is there is something you have to become. And so when you sit up and make up in your mind, this is what I'm going to become, you don't know everything you need to be. You know, I'm going to do this. You might be able to look and say, okay, I'm not this yet. I'm not that yet. But what will happen is most people will sit up and say, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a ABC business, whatever that is. And then you look up and you don't know how to get past point A, point B, point C, point D, whatever. And the reason you don't know is because you've never done it. So anything that you're going to do to accomplish something you've never done before, accomplish something you've never had, achieve something you never had before, you're going to have some things you don't know. So if you're waiting on the point where you're going to know everything so that you know every step you're going to take before you get started, you'll never get started because you're doing something you've never done before. The way that this world works, it works on what most people call faith. It works on an energy of belief, not just saying I believe something, but an energy of belief. The energy of belief moves you. It not only moves you, it moves the whole world, the universe. In other words, when you believe something at a level that you start to move toward it, God designed the universe to respond to your thoughts, to respond to your actions and beliefs and expectations. That's why I consistently tell you, that's why I consistently tell you that God only meets you at the level of your expectations. So when you sit out and you have these expectations, and the expectations don't require that you have all the answers. See, that's not faith anyway. See, if you have all the answers, that's everything you can see. See, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Those things that you can't see require faith. Faith is the established force behind what you can't see but know is. And so when you sit up and say, I know it is faith that is establishing the knowledge of something that you can't yet see. So when you step toward it, you immediately force the universe to respond to you. That's called something being manifested in the fifth dimension. That's when the thought is first emitted and the energy from the thought creates the reality. Now, you can't see it, you can't touch it, nobody knows about it. But look at it as being a seed. The seed is you've planted a seed and the seed is being cultivated. Anything you plant has a gestation period, right? You don't just plant something and then you look and 10 seconds later it's grown. No, some things have a gestation period of a couple of weeks. Some things have gestation periods of years. There's a story that is circulated and I've verified it's true. In Asia, there's this bamboo tree that when you plant it, you got to constantly water it. You got to constantly take care of it. You got to make sure that it's getting the nutrients and the water it needs. But you will not see any proof that that seed you planted is there for 5 years. It takes 5 years to gestate. Here's the thing though. It says that once it starts to grow, it grows from 0 to 90 feet in 90 days. 0 to 90 feet in 90 days. So it starts out and for 5 years. And a lot of people ask the question, I know I've heard Les Brown ask it, I know I've read about it, and the question is asked when you look into the story behind this tree is, so did it take the tree 90 days to grow 90 feet? Or did it take 5 years and 90 days? The answer is 5 years and 90 days. The gestation period is a part of growth, even though you don't see it. You're still progressing, you're still growing. Well, the thing is, the greater the demand you're placing on life, the greater the gestation period. You take a rose and you plant a rose seed, and you take an acorn and you plant an acorn, which produces an oak tree, and you're going to get the rose years before you get the oak tree, but the rose is going to be something that's going to be temporal in nature. It's going to come, it's going to blossom, and it's going to go, the blossoms are going to fall off, and then we do it again in another season. Whereas when the oak tree finally gets here, it's solid. It's going to be shade for you. You can go hang out up under it. You can climb it. You can do whatever you want to with it because it's going to be there for your lifetime. And so it just depends on what you're demanding from the world, how long it takes to get it. But the moment that you think it, it's already in motion. Now, what happens with a lot of people is they make the initial manifestation, but they don't guard the seed. They don't pull up the weeds that come in. The weeds are the negative people around you. The weeds are doubt, thoughts of doubt from yourself, memories in the past of past failures, anything that creates doubt and causes you to question what you've planted. is what destroys what you've manifested. And people do it all the time. They'll manifest something and they'll have this great energy about it, and then they'll listen to other people that'll talk them off the ledge, and they'll come back in because that's not realistic. You're not being reasonable. You're overreaching. You are being haughty, and all of these other things that will cause you to come back in and say, I know I was really doing too much. You know, and the next thing you know, you are sitting there where you've always been, and you think you've shrunk back into comfort, but you shrunk back into inactivity, you shrunk back into powerlessness, you shrunk back into ineffectiveness. None of the work you're doing has any efficacious value in accomplishing anything of any true nature, any value, anything worthwhile. And so here you are, and you got all this potential, but it's going to die inside of you if you don't get up and get out and start making something happen in your life. Nobody owes you anything but you. Everything that you're going to get from other people is going to be a response for how you give to yourself. How you invest in you is going to determine what other people do. When people see the value in you, they want to see how much you're going to invest in growing and expanding that value. And then you'll get people who will come along. Once they see you're committed to doing something exceptional with your life, they'll plug into you and they'll plant some seeds for you. They'll speak into your life. They'll open up the door of resources. That's when providence begins to truly move, when you decide to step out beyond what you can see. I'm telling you, when you shift paradigms, wow. When you change your thinking, when you stop pointing fingers and you stop placing blame, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the things you're talking about are unreal and don't matter, and you shouldn't have felt pain from them. I'm not saying that you didn't go through something as a child. I'm not saying that that abusive relationship didn't damage you. I'm not saying that not knowing your father didn't have implications, or not knowing your mother doesn't have implications. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, at some point you have to realize that everything you've been through did not disqualify you from walking in your purpose and living at the level of your design. There is a design with a level, a demand of excellence in you performing what you were sent here and designed to do. And when you find that, you find your passion. When you find your passion, you now move with purpose, and you have this force that won't let you quit, that wakes you up in the morning and squares you up and sends you on your way. And when you tap into that, things change. But you've been pushed back into a faulty paradigm. It's everybody's fault except yours. Or you can't win for losing. Or this is as good as it gets. Suffering is my lot in life. Poverty is my lot in life. Being in the background and not having any impact is my lot in life. No, it's not. It's what you are allowing because you refuse to engage the need for change. Look. What I want you to do is, like I said, I'm excited because I've taken an $899 program and I've put it in a place where everybody can get to it for $29.99. Now it's minus having access to me, and that does make a difference because there are things that I'm able to pull out. There are layers I'm able to pull back. I'm able to undress issues and get to the source. Remember, everything is cause and effect. You don't have anything happening in your life that doesn't have a cause for it. There are no coincidences. There are not, they just did it. No, there's a cause. There's something behind it. Anything you're doing right now, there's a reason you're doing it, even if you can't explain why and you don't know. I get people to that so we can change what needs to be changed. What happens here is there are things that you know right now in this program that's online. There are things you know right now that you need to be doing differently. There are things now you know are not good in the way that you think. There are ways that you can identify things you need to change. This program allows you to take the things you know you need to change, create a new idea of what is, a new belief based on your design, and literally change your life. And over 30 days, there's so much that can happen. 21 days begins a point of where behavior and it's just not physical behavior. Habit is formed in thinking. If you've got a habit of thinking negative, you got to change it. If you got a habit of expecting less, you got to change it. If you got a habit of feeling you're not in control, you got to change it. And see, so you start building habits of thought, then you build habits of speech, and then you work on habits of behavior. And all of those work together to create this person that's capable. And that's what this is about. So with that being said, look, I came here to just tell you about that, but I get excited because I'm really hoping that this urges in an entire new group of people who are able now to tap into something and get excited. And the thing is, once you get excited, you start to learn that it's so much more beyond what you just were able to accomplish. It's just the starting point. And that's the great thing about it. All you have to do is get started. That's it. Get started. You don't have to have all the answers. You just got to get started. Then you start to connect with people. You start to make adjustments along the way. You start to find things that work as you move forward. And the next thing you know, you're doing things that you've never done before. You know, there was a time that I'm pretty sure you'd ask anybody to say, you know, he's a pretty sharp cat, but I don't see him writing 20 books. He's a pretty sharp cat, but I wouldn't see him, you know, owning multiple companies over a course of a year and having one company that he's owned for 30 years. I wouldn't see that. You know, I wouldn't see him, you know, having multiple online enterprises. You know, he'll do okay. You know, he's sharp enough. He'll do okay. He's going to be pretty good. But nobody could have said I would do this. But the thing is, I got started. When it came down to being an author, you know, it started with me writing my first article in high school, The Invisible Father, which ultimately became, down the line, years later, my first book, The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation. But when I wrote that first book, I didn't have my mind on book number 20, Critical Mass, The Phenomenon of Next Level Living. I didn't have my mind on critical mass when I wrote The Invisible Father. I had my mind on The Invisible Father, and when I wrote Invisible Father, I didn't have my mind on the end of the book. I think, what was it, chapter 18. I had my mind on chapter 1. And I wrote until I got through with it, and then I wrote until I got through with chapter 2. And when I finished, I had an entire book. Then we went through the process of getting it published. And it's the same thing with the next book and the next book and the next book, and then the same thing with the last. And then now it's to the point to where I've done it so much that it's a process. That's all it is. It's a process now. I never have to question, can I do it now? I never have to question, will I get it published now? I never have to question any of that. I just sit up and say, okay, this is something I think that the world needs to see in book form. I'm going to give it to them. And then I have 2 on the shelf for 2019, and I'll get those done. But it started out with simply getting started. The Odyssey Media Group started out with me saying, I've got to find a way to create a new stream of revenue. I'm going to start writing articles as a freelance writer. And it started out as cheesy, cheap work. I mean, I was paid, I think the first article I got paid $2.75. Now, I don't even take them unless they pay $200. And the $200 is only for a 500 word to 700 word article. And it takes me 15 minutes to write. But it started with me sitting down and say, I've got to get in this. Online is where things are happening now. So I'm going to start doing freelance work online. Now I write all kind of, one of the biggest parts of the Odyssey Media Group is procuring and creating content for people's websites. And I've done it for so many websites. I think I'm over 37,000 articles since this started back in 2012. And that's not including the stuff I've written for my own websites. And I have, I think, 10 of those, not including the other stuff that I do. So, but it started one article. I got paid a funky $2.75 for. But I made up in my mind that I'm going to do what it has. I started out and it said my level was a beginner, and another site I wrote for said my level was a 2. And then I got on, and now, you know, like I said, I get to set my prices for when I'm writing something, and the people know when they come to me that, people come to me for all different types of things to be written. But it started with me simply saying I'm going to do it, and starting, and not having a problem with being the small fish in the pond. So that's another thing that we've got to get out of. You're not going to move into an industry that's already established and be the big fish in the pond, be the most widely respected expert in the pond. That's not how you start. You start as a student. You start learning. You start by developing and being open to advice. And then you grow. And then, you know, for the average person, if they do something consistently over and over on a daily basis for 3 years, they become an expert at it. It doesn't take forever to become an expert. It takes commitment and consistency. And then there are some of us who have certain gifts on levels that allow them to consume and take in things quicker. And you can maybe do it in a year and a half. And you can master things. You can go out and you can take on the world. And you just got to be willing to progress a piece at a time until you get where you're going. Most people quit before they get there. That's the thing. Most people want something and then they start on it and then they try it for a while. They check it, they try to measure it. It doesn't look like anything's happened. They toss it and they go on. I shared something about maybe a month ago that one of my friends had mentioned, and it basically says, if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. And it's that simple. You know, we get to something and we get tough, we quit. Somebody says no, we quit. No means absolutely nothing, but this person doesn't want to do it right now. I'm not a person that pushes myself on people. I'm not a pressure salesman. When I talk with people, I don't tell them, if you don't get in now, it's not going to be there. If you don't start now, you're going to screw your life. No, this is what I do. I'm confident enough in what I do that I believe I present value in front of you. If you are ready to seize it, you seize it. If you're not, you know it's there. I don't do that. But what I do is I present something of value and I let you make a decision. But the thing is this: are you ready? And are you ready? Or are you committed to go the distance? But what happens is most people sit up and they want to start something and then they can't see any results and they quit. Like I said, the gestation period may be longer. You got to put in work. My whole thing, like I said, my mindset is I'm relentless. I'm not quitting. That's my one word, is I'm not quitting. It's relentless. My one word is relentless. You know, I have a certain level of expertise in a number of different disciplines that allow me to help my clients. But at the end of the day, I achieve things because I refuse to quit. There are things that my knowledge gets me in. There are things that my ability to speak gets me in. There are things that my ability to write helps me do. But when things turn south on me and things aren't happening the way I want them to happen and things are just really screwed up, what gets me to the next level, what pushes me past the pain, what pushes me past fear, what pushes me past disappointment and delay is my relentlessness. I am relentless. Once I start something, I'm going to get it. I'm going to die trying. And to me, actually, it doesn't matter which one, because if I die, I died giving it everything I had. And if I don't die, I'm going to eventually get it. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for me. I have a goal set of when I want it, but if I get there and I ain't got it, I just recalibrate and keep going till I get it. And that's life in a nutshell. Nothing that you want of value is going to lay down for you. Nothing that is worth having, from marriage to children to a business to financial independence to an impactful life of changing people around the world. None of that stuff comes without a challenge. None of it comes without a fight. None of it comes without you being completely invested in doing the best you can do. So the whole idea of having ease and fulfillment in the same sentence is ridiculous. It doesn't exist. You're going to have to put in the work. I'm hoping that this new course, like I said, I've taken $899 and sculpted into a course that is worthwhile and worthy of much more. But I'm offering it at $29.99. You can click the link, you can go to it and enroll and get started. Email me or text me if you have any questions. I want to make sure you have a smooth flow through the process. Like I said, it's 5 modules, a total of 7 video lectures that literally explain and walk you through it. And I'm telling you that you should be able to achieve results. And I will be making the necessary adjustments as we go to make it stronger and stronger. And you guys are really going to play a role in that. So I'm hoping that it really works out, because if it does, it's going to be followed with at least 4 more courses that I have right now sitting on top of my head that I do with my clients. But I want to make it available to everybody. But at the end of the day, look, I am a firm believer that everybody has a gift. You've heard, if those who follow me have heard me say, I've worked with kids with autism. I've worked with adults with autism as well. One of my most successful clients has Asperger's, and it's unbelievable. Dude is off the chain. You know, he gets me excited. But I've worked with people with Down syndrome. I've worked with people who come from broken homes, people who didn't know their father, people who come from poverty, people who were incarcerated. I've seen it all, and I've always been able to identify the gift. And the problem is we live in a world where the public school system doesn't look for the gift. It standardizes. It wants everybody to learn the same way, learn the same thing, do the same thing. And that's not serving the gift. And what I look for is the gift, and everybody has one, every last one. Nobody's better than anybody else. Nobody has more force than anybody else. Everybody has a different thing to do and a different way of doing what they do than anybody else. But the force at which they can impact the world, change other people's lives as well as themselves, is equal. Anybody can turn this world upside down. Absolutely anybody. The problem is most people are buying into the assessments that other people have about them. And that's the problem. Some people are still carrying around things their parents and their peers and their teachers said about them when they were kids. And they can't shake it. And so they never step into the full force of their design. Everybody should be living life at the level of their design. And when you do that, you find yourself functioning in places and doing things that people consider extraordinary. And it's that simple. Start it and stick with it until you finish it. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope that you guys will, take advantage of the course. I want all of your feedback because I want it to be the best it can possibly be. I want your feedback. I'll be adding resources as things develop, and I get feedback. And like I said, if you got questions, shoot me an inbox or shoot me an email at ceo@rickwallacephd.link, and we'll get through this together. But I really am excited because this price point is something that I've never offered outside of a book. And this thing is 30 days and you feel something. And I'm not talking about emotionally, but it will have emotion attached to it. I'm talking about you're able to see something different. You get the results. You're starting to see different results. You're starting to have different expectations. Life is what you're going to make of it. It's not about the hand you're dealt. It's about what you're going to do with your life and your design. Because if you do it the way you're supposed to, nothing in this world can stand in front of you. There's absolutely nothing you can do. There are people I've seen popped on here that I either know or I know about that have so overachieved what people said they would be that it's unbelievably ridiculous. And all they did was make up in their mind that they were going to do it. Now the hard work came, the challenges came, the setbacks came, the racism for some of y'all kicked in. Like I said, I've studied some of y'all. Some of you guys are like my heroes. I don't know if he's still on here, but Ralph Cooper, like, man, I've been watching that guy since I was a kid and listening to him most of the time. And then when he finally got to TV, but I mean, it's like, to have that person drop in on some of your video sessions to me is like crazy, just that I've done something. And the thing is, you're not thinking about that. When you're listening to somebody like Ralph Cooper on radio, as a kid, you're listening to their commentary. And and you're learning how to talk sports by listening to them. And then all of a sudden you look up one day and this guy is listening to you. But why is that? Because I decided to do something. It's that simple. I decided that I was going to do something. And I got out there and I decided that what I didn't know well, I would learn. And that's all you do is whatever you need to do to be what you want to be, to have what you want to have, you got to do it. That's one saying, and then I'm out of here. One saying, and it's a real common saying if you've ever been around anybody in this field. In order to have the things that most people don't have, you've got to be willing to do the things most people won't do. You can't keep doing what everybody else is doing and expect to get extraordinary results. You're going to get the results that the average people are getting if you're behaving like average people. You've got to step out of the box. If everybody's getting up at 7, you need to be up at 6 or 5. Every day I'm up between 4 and 5 o'clock. And that's 7 days a week. And it's not a strain for me. Some people, you need to take a break. No. See, you're under the assumption that getting up at 4 o'clock for me is a strain. I'm up. I don't have to. I'm up and I'm ready to go. I'm priming for my day at that time. I'm ready to go because there's something out there for me to have. And that's the thing that most people get. If it's work for you, you're in the wrong field. If it's work for you, you're in the wrong field. It shouldn't be work. It should be something you're passionate about, something you would do for free if you were financially set. There are so many things that I'm saying, man, when I finally get to where I want to, when I hit this number and I get to this number, it's so many things that I'm going to do for absolutely free. And I do things for free now. I do a lot of what I do in the community for free. The vast majority of what I do in the community for free. It's not free, but nobody's paying me for it. I'm paying for it, but I'm doing it. Why? Because it's nothing like doing what I do, and there are times when I have to do it for free. But that's the thing. That's it. Be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, and you'll have what other people don't have. And that's it for now. Look, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, whether you know it or not. You are exceptional. You're extraordinary. You are phenomenal. It's time for you to start living in it. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. And as I always say, I am going to live my life on full each and every day so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.